All right, so that from the White House moments ago. Let's bring in Jonathan Schanzer. He is the Senior Vice President for Research at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies and a former U.S. Treasury terror finance analyst. So Karine Jean-Pierre clearly reading an approved statement there from the White House saying that she thinks that she doesn't believe that war is inevitable. What do you think? Will Hassan Nasrallah find a way to climb down from all-out war, particularly since there are reports, Jonathan, that the target of this attack, Fawad Shukr, one of his top military advisors, has survived?
Yeah, look, I think we need to back up for just a minute and remember that Hezbollah has been firing rockets at Israel since October 8th. In other words, one day after the war erupted with Hamas, Hezbollah jumped into the act. They've been firing somewhere between 250 and 350 different rockets and missiles at Israel every day. About 100,000 Israelis have been cleared out of their homes in the north. And so the Israelis, after that attack on Saturday that killed 12, they really had, in their minds, no choice but to respond. All the while, the U.S. has been trying to kind of tamp down tensions. That's not worked very well, primarily because Israel is the only actor that's being restrained. We continue to hear from the White House that Israel needs to show restraint, but meanwhile, Hezbollah continues to work with Iran. They continue to engage in hostilities against Israel. There's been no price to pay. Today, we may see a price paid, but that, of course, may lead to escalation. If the White House is truly interested in trying to dial back the tensions and to try to bring this to a soft landing, a diplomatic conclusion, they're going to need to threaten Iran and Hezbollah. They need to make it clear that there will be costs for everything that they've been doing for the last 9 months.
Jonathan, thank you for joining us. Well, as the White House says, the administration doesn't believe that an all-out war is inevitable. We seem to be getting some sort of response from Iran here through Iran's embassy in Lebanon, saying that Iran strongly condemns the sinful and cowardly Israeli aggression that targeted southern Beirut suburb. I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, I would expect that kind of condemnation that we're seeing from the Iranians. Of course, we know that Vladimir Putin has also condemned the attack. They are, of course, allies in the region. The Iranians are helping Russia with its aggression in Ukraine. And vice versa. I mean, the Russians have been helping Iran and Hezbollah with their aggression against Israel. We're seeing an axis right now. Not surprising to see these sorts of condemnations. But I think, again, what it does is it puts the ball squarely in the court of the White House right now. The White House needs to get a handle on this. They have not for the last 9 months. I think it's been really mishandled and botched by the Biden administration because all we have seen is Israel being restrained while the other side has grown increasingly aggressive. We have arrived at a moment of decision here in the Middle East where a crisis, a full-blown crisis, could actually emerge. And this is the moment for a superpower like the United States to step in and threaten consequences if things continue to go in the direction that they are. Again, we cannot fault the Israelis for responding to the murder of 12 of its citizens, children, the other day. This was inevitable. The question now is, can we call it quits at this moment? Can the U.S. call upon cooler heads to prevail? I don't know whether we have the credibility right now to do that, but this is the moment that we should be trying.
So, Jonathan, as Sandra pointed out, Iran and Russia both condemning this attack. I might have missed it, but I don't recall either one of them condemning the attack against the Druze Arabs in the Golan on Saturday. But it would seem that there was a major miscalculation by Hezbollah here because the people who died, many of them were children, most of them were children, were Druze Arabs. Yes, they support Israel, and a lot of them are Israeli citizens, but they're still Arabs. And for Hezbollah to be killing Arabs is not going to sit well with the local population, let alone the international community.
No,
which I believe is why Hezbollah was so vocal in saying it wasn't us, we didn't do this, when clearly it would seem they did.
No, and I think no one's really buying it right now. We can see the forensics. We can, I mean, the Israelis have shown the flight path. They can tell you exactly what time the rocket was shot. Hezbollah's attempts to deny this, I think, are falling on deaf ears. Nobody's actually buying it in the international community. But I think, in my view, this was only a matter of time, something like this, where 12 children were killed. I mean, what we've seen are thousands of attacks since October 8th. One of them was going to get through. One of them was going to create a mass casualty event. One of them was going to prompt the Israelis to respond in the way that they have. And that's just what's just so sad about this, is that there was ample opportunity for months leading up to this moment to actually impose costs on Hezbollah and on Iran. And I think we just need to point out here that Iran has been providing the weapons, the cash, the training, the ideological indoctrination to Hezbollah, to Hamas, to the Shiite militias that have been attacking American troops in places like Iraq and Syria. They're doing the same thing with the Houthis as they've shut down the international shipping lane in the Red Sea. All of this tracks back to Iran, and I have to say, I don't think that we have held Iran to account, not once, during this entire 9 months. The U.S. has an opportunity to warn the Iranians, to threaten the Iranians, to show them that there will be real costs. We've not done it, and I think, unfortunately, that weakness has actually led us to the crisis that we're looking at right now.
All right, as we continue to look at this video from Beirut moments ago, Jonathan, a final thought from you on what you'll be watching for in the coming hours following this targeted attack.
Sure. Well, I mean, when you look at the Arab media right now, they are saying that Haifa is going to be targeted. This is Israel's third largest city. It's in the north. They have a very large chemical plant that I'll certainly be watching. We've got to hope that nothing hits that. But, I think Haifa has been largely spared so far in this conflict for the last 9 months. We've not seen Hezbollah hit this large city in northern Israel. That's what I'm watching right now. And if Haifa is hit by Hezbollah, I will tell you that the Israeli military will respond with greater force, and we will be climbing an escalation ladder. This is the escalation ladder that, of course, the White House is trying to make sure that the region does not climb.
And we'll go back to likely a worse situation than we saw in 2006. There are many people I know in Israel who say that where they are now in the north is worse than it was back in 2006 when there was all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah. Jonathan, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to have continuing coverage of this breaking news and more.